Oh, are we on the air? Don't forget to subscribe.
Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today we're going to do something new. I'm going to show you guys 5 different 8-ball diagrams that I'm going to run out for you, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to see the diagram before I start the run, and you can even pause the video, try to run them out on your own, or watch to see how I go about doing it. There are a lot of learning opportunities in these diagrams. The first one is going to be relatively easy, but they will get progressively more complicated. The key is it doesn't take any dramatic shots, any long English force follow or extreme English draw shots or anything like that to get through these diagrams, but you will need to know a couple tricks to make it happen, and I'm going to teach you those tricks today. But let's start with an easy one. This is Schematic 11.1. So the key here is you want the 5 ball to be your key ball to get on the 8. So I think the 5 might have been a little more in the pocket. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same series of shots. This is your most important shot. If you play this shot first and get an angle on this 3, you can get on the 6 ball. So you want to be able to get on the 6. There's a number of ways you can run this out, but I like shooting this ball first because it's going to be the hardest one to get to. And then that 3 is obviously going to be difficult unless you get position off of one of the other balls. But the way I would play this, and it can be played a number of different ways. The way I would play this, because I like the 5 in the side to get on the 8 ball down here, I'm going to play this with a little bit of draw. The reason for the draw is to come out and get an angle on that 3 so that I can get on the 6. Once I make the 6, anywhere over here is fine for the 5 ball. So I'm going to shoot a little bit of stun here. And you see how I drifted out so that now I have an angle on the 3. And my only concern here, actually, I'm going to get on the 6. My only concern is I don't want to tag the 5 ball. So I'm going to stay out here instead of using reverse spin, because I don't want to accidentally hit that 5. That 5 is my friend. And I'm going to shoot this one with high left to come off of 2 rails. You don't need the high left to make this work. In fact, well, let's shoot it with stun. We'll just shoot it there and drift out a little bit to get on the 5, because I'm trying to make these without the need for any kind of specialty English. So a little bit of stun there. And now we have perfect position on the 5 to get on the 8. We just roll that down and we're going to move in line with the 8 ball. And shoot this with a little bit of, well, it doesn't really matter. I hit it with follow because I was so close to the rail. So that's schematic number 1. Okay, schematic 11.2. If we look around on this, we can find the run out because it is there. And it's a pain. It was a pain to set up, so I hope I don't end up taking 2 or 3 chances at this, but I'll record them all if I do. So let's look at our problems. We really have one issue. The 1 and the 8 are tied up. And the 1, if you go according to the schematic, is not makeable from here. But we do have a couple opportunities to break that cluster up. We could do it off of the 3 ball, but the way we're going to do it is we're going to fix a lot of these problems, because this 2 is another problem. We're going to fix all these problems with one shot. Here's the shot. Because the 6 and the 4 are wired, we're going to shoot into this 4 and 6. That will send the 4 ball over here to break up this cluster, the 6 into the corner, and we'll get the 2 ball out of this situation here. We've got 2 insurance shots, which are also 2 really good key ball shots, but right now they're insurance shots. These 2 are irrelevant unless we do something to get in the way of our run out, but I think they're in the right position. So here I'm going to shoot into this. I'm going to hit these pretty hard for a couple reasons. One, I'm going to draw the cue ball back with a little right hand spin to get closer to the middle of the table. I'm going to have, well, there'll be probably 5 balls left of mine on the table after this shot, and I want to make sure that I have a chance to get on one of my insurance balls or one of the balls that I break up. So it doesn't have to be shot this way. There's a number of ways to get out from here, but I'm definitely going to break up that cluster, which will break up that cluster first. That's going to be my strategy. So I'm shooting this with low left hand spin to come off the rail. So you see everything got broken up. We put a ball in the pocket. We put a ball right outside the pocket. This can be an issue, so I'm probably going to look to fix that first. The 2 ball is laying in the pocket, so we have so many ways to be out from here. But the one thing we have to do first is nudge that 1 to get a better position on it. If we don't have a shot after nudging that 1, we still have our insurance shot on the 5, and we have an insurance shot on the 2. So we're going to shoot this with a little bit of stun and nudge the 1 ball down the table like that. So I sent it directly towards the pocket because if it went, it didn't hurt me any. A lot of times I like to leave balls on the table for no other reason than to help me with position. So right now, any of these balls are good key balls for the 8 ball, except the 2. I don't like the 2 as a key ball unless I want to shoot down there, which I don't want to. So any of these balls except the 2. So I'm going to get the 2 out of my life. So I will use the 5 to get an easy shot on the 2. And now the 4 would be a good key ball. We can't forget about this ball down here. So we're going to try to get on the 4. If I don't get on the 4, I'm going to use the 1 as my key ball. Or I'm going to use my 1 to get on the 4. So that's actually not bad position. So here we have a couple options. We can play the 1 to get on the 4 and then use the 4 as a key ball, a little draw to get over there, something like that. I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to play the 4 in the side and use the 1 as a key ball because I think I can do more things with the 1 from here, where the 4 ball, I'm going to have to get position from that 1 ball shot, and it's not going to be all that easy. So most amateurs would take this shot because it's in the pocket, but then they end up not being on this 4. And keep in mind that getting on the 4 doesn't get us out. If I end up there on the 4 ball, I can make the 4 all day and night, but I still have to get on the 8. So you have to think these things out. I'm going to play the 4 in the side. I'm going to hit this a little hard because I don't want to end up behind this 15. So the cue ball is going to be coming this direction. I want to make sure the 15 doesn't hold me up. So we made his 15, which is not a concern. And now we can roll this down. I'm going to put a little bit of left on it because I want to come off that rail just to make the shot a little bit easier for myself. So we're off the rail and we'll roll this down. And we're out. I'm glad I didn't have to set that thing up a second time, but that's 11.2. So here we have 11.3, and this one we have ball in hand. which we're lucky to have ball in hand, because we have a couple problems we have to deal with. One of them is this cluster here, the 5-12 cluster. We need to get our ball off of there. But we want to keep shooting. We don't want to just get our ball off of there. We want to keep shooting. So, there's a couple things that look like problems that aren't problems. Once again, the 4 and the 6 are wired, so we can actually make those from anywhere on the table. We can make that 6 ball. So that's a shot. That's an insurance shot. The 3 is on the short rail. I never liked that. And this looks like a bad thing, but the tangent line goes straight to this pocket. So when you have a crazy layout, you want to look at it and see. I mean, straight pool players are good at this because we have to find a lot of different patterns inside a rack. But you want to look and see, are these really problems? That cluster is not a problem. It's an insurance shot. I can make that from my dining room. This here is a, you know, the one ball is going to go there if I just hit it from here. That's why I have my cue ball over here. The only issue that I have is if I hit this properly, I'll go almost right into the 5, which should send it near the middle of the table. The only issue that I have is I don't want to get behind this 12 and I don't want to get behind this 11. So I'm going to shoot this with a little bit of stun and hopefully leave the cue ball there so that I can get out of this area off of the 3 ball. So that cluster will be broken up. The 1 ball will be in the corner pocket. So we still got a shot on the 2, which was, we were pretty certain we would unless the 12 ball took a bad roll on us. So we know we're going to get on this 2 ball, and it's probably the most difficult of our shots right now. So I'm going to come around off of this 3 and see if I have the shot that I want on the 2. If I don't have the shot that I want on the 2, I'll call an audible and work on another situation. So I'm going to play this with high left. And we get a nice shot on the 2. If I came up short or if I didn't like the roll afterwards, then I could always play the 5. I could always play the 6. So I'm hitting this with low right hand spin. The only thing I don't like about this shot is that the 12 ball is going to interfere with the flow of my cue ball. So I prefer to not touch other balls, but because I have these insurance shots in place, I'm not worried about ending my run. I only have to think about making the 2. Low right hand spin. And that's an ideal place to be. Now, I can make the 5 and then worry about these 2, but there's another problem. But not really a problem yet. When I break up this cluster, I want to make sure I can get on the 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it directly behind the 4, take the cue ball to the rail, and try to get on the 4. I don't want to have to use the 5 to get on the 4. So I want to make sure that nothing bad happens. So we got perfect position on the 4. The 5 is a good key ball shot, so we're just going to get down here anywhere in this area. We can get from the 5 to the 6. So I'm going to try to get what I would consider perfect. Can't get more perfect than that. And I'm going to draw this back just a little bit to make myself an easy shot on the 8. And that was on the first try. So let's look at the next one. This is schematic 11.4. So let's take a look. 6 and the 5 are on the rail, but the 5 is wired. Goes right there. The 7 is on the rail. We can use that as leverage to get on another shot, but we want to get rid of it early. We want to take care of that early. The 4 ball is actually an insurance shot if we end up down here without anything good. So I might leave the 4 because my only problem is this 10 and 2. And where so far in 1 through 3, I made all of them on the first try. I don't think they take any high degree of skill to make. The skill comes in when you talk about the pattern. So if you understand the pattern, you can get through these. Now, I came up with the schematics, so I have situations that I know how to deal with. But I don't think you need any specialty shots to get through these. I have some that I've used draw or cue ball spin or whatever, but you can get through these without any extreme use of draw, follow, force follow, or anything special. So if I make them look easy, it's because they are easy as long as you work that pattern and you don't let yourself get out of line. So I'm going to start out with the 3 ball and use it to get on the 7. Keeping in mind, I'm still thinking about this down here. Okay, I want to break that up with one of my balls. So I'm going to look at situations where I can make that happen. If I don't do it before I break those up, I'll use that 6 ball to break it up on the next shot after I make the 5. So here I'm going to shoot this with a little bit of draw. I'm just coming out on the table. So now I can play the 4, I can play the 1. The best thing to do with this shot, though, is to use the 1, the shot on the 1, with a little bit of stun. The tangent line is going to take me right down there. So if I don't put too much draw or too much follow on it, I should be able to break that cluster up. So there you go. I knew his ball would go in because it was wired for that pocket. And by the way, if I wanted to, if I needed ball in hand, or I needed to get a free shot, I could make his ball knowing that his 11 is not going to be an easy shot for him. So here, I may need to use my insurance shot, but if I could make the 2, which I think I can, and get on another shot, that's going to be my first choice because I don't like these balls close to the short rail. Plus, the 4 is not a layup. You know what? Let's shoot the 4. Let's shoot the 4. I do think it's a layup, even though it's 8 feet down table. So we shoot a stun shot on the 4. We use our wired combo over here. We should be on the 2 after this. If I can also get on the 6. Remember, the 8 is sitting in the pocket. We can make that, I can make that from even down here. So let's, we're going to come right behind this because I don't want to push the 5 into the rail too much and end up missing it. So now the only thing we need to do is get from the 2 to the 6. So I'm going to get near the middle of the table. I just want to get where I can make the 6. I may come a little bit further to get a straighter end shot on the 6. High left here. And I could have hit that harder. I would have ended up down here. But we can make this 6 ball shot. This is not an easy shot. This is the hardest shot since the run. But we make the 6, and I would recommend, guys, going a little bit further down, having a longer shot on that 6 because that's not an easy shot for a lot of guys. And then we have our layup there. So first try on that one too, but keep in mind, again, no special shots needed to get through that. Okay, this is actually the last and the easiest one of the bunch. What we're going to do is look for our problems. We've got a ball on the short rail here. We've got a ball on the short rail there. The 8 is on this side of the side pocket. So we need to figure out how do we want to go about doing this. Remember, the 8 is the only one we have to shoot last. So we want to have a position on that 8. A couple ways we can do this. We can play the 3 and tap it in and get on the 7. Or, now if we do that, now we have to go back down table and play the 2 and then the 1 and get back down table so that we can play the 8. If we don't have to go back and forth, let's not. Let's go that way and then this way and wrap it all up without having to get good position off that 1 ball. So the way I'm going to do that, because this is a problem, this is what makes this dangerous, this whole thing here. If I blow this, it'll be because of this situation. It's one of those things that you're like, well, why didn't I take care of that when I was down there? But I can see how I'll get on the 7 from the 3, and I like the position from the 7 to the 8. So that's why I'm going in this direction. I'm going to use the 11 to put on the brakes for me. So I'm not going to try to put a stop shot or anything on it. I'm going to run into the 11. The 11 will come off the rail and hit the cue ball so that the cue ball is not stuck on the rail. And the 11 should move out of my way. This is all a matter of knowing the angles and what's going to happen to the balls. So there you go. The 11 pushed the cue ball off the rail and it got out of my way. So now it's not an event. This is an easy shot, but remember, I want to get good position on this 3 so I have an easy shot on the 7, or none of this worked. A little bit of high right. And we got perfect position there. I would love to shoot a stun shot here, but it would leave the cue ball behind the 10, so I'm just going to tap this, which by the way is my least favorite shots when I have to slow roll a ball. But we get off the rail just enough that we have a good shot on the 7. And by the way, if I hit it too hard, I'm good from here all the way to here on that 7. I can make that 7 from here. And I think you can too. So if I hit it too hard, I still would have had a shot. The important thing here is to not be behind this 12. If I just shoot this in, let's say from here, I come off the rail and I'm behind the 12, and that would be tragic. So I'm actually going to I can put a little bit of follow on this and try to avoid the 12. Because I'm Bryan Mitchell, I'm going to put a little draw on it and come this way to totally avoid the 12. If you're not confident putting the draw on that rail shot, you shoot it a different way. And then we have the 8, and it's a wrap. So 5 schematics, each on the first try, but keep in mind, you might have trouble with a couple of them where I'm putting spin on the bar, I'm doing things differently than you might do it. And also I knew the key, because I made them up, to each of the problems. Now you know the key to the problems and you can fix them, and this will help you understand the gambit, the strategy involved with some of these more complex runouts. So go from there and you should be fine. Again, no special shots. A little bit of draw on that one, a little bit of high right on that one. Nothing that an intermediate player couldn't pull off. So, all right, let me know how you make out.